Alrighty, so at 2:08, I'm gonna get started. If you have like trouble creating a GitHub account, maybe like reach out later on. But anyways, so for this presentation, there's gonna be a lot of commands, and many of these commands will be listed in the CS and AI toolkit. So it would be nice if you could follow along in there. Would you say that the toolkit is on the Discord? Or
yes, it was published.
okay, so it would be nice if you can navigate to the Git and GitHub section of the CS&AI toolkit to get access to some of the commands. And so the primary purpose of the creation of the CS&AI toolkit was to get you all up to speed with all the AI tools that we will be using in this club, such as Git, GitHub, Python, Jupyter, and the other stuff listed in the toolkit. Now, many of you guys might have heard the terms Git and GitHub, and possibly you might relate these terms interchangeably. But what Git is a version control system that allows you to manage the versions of your code, and it allows you to go back to versions of your code, previous changes in your code. And GitHub is a remote repository, and so it stores the versions that you've uploaded from your local Git version application to the cloud. And if you don't want to use GitHub, you could also use other applications such as Bitbucket by Atlassian and GitLab. So I sort of touched on what Git was on the earlier slide, but more specifically, Git is a version control system that allows you to track changes. And the primary benefit of Git is that it allows you to roll back your changes. So let's say that you made a mistake in your current code base, such as you made a mistake in your current code base and you don't really know what error you made, and you just want to go back to a previous version of your code that was working, then Git allows you to go back to previous versions and start off from a point where you know that your code had been working. And then another added benefit of Git and GitHub is that it allows you to work collaboratively with other people. So rather than have everything on one computer, you can work remotely. And this sort of is covered more in depth in this slide. So with GitHub, your code is stored in the cloud in a remote repository. And if you want to pull down the code to be used, or rather access the code, you do a git pull, and that allows you to bring all the changes in the current code that everyone else has made down to your local machine. And then let's say that you're done making all your code changes, then you'd send the code over to the remote repository, that being Git, with a push. Now, an important feature of GitHub, Git, is branching. So what branching allows you to do is it allows you to work collaboratively in a more like efficient manner. For example, say you're creating a social media site, and one person Carl, who's represented in red, works on the homepage, the sign-up flow, and the settings page. But then let's say another person, Anna, wants to update the design of the website to make it better. So in a traditionally you'd work on the same computer and have work like synchronously, in that Carl would take a turn making changes, and Anna would take her turn making changes. But what Git allows you to do is that it allows you to create a branch of the code. So it's like a separate copy of the code. And with branching, you can make all the changes that you want on that separate branch. And then once you're done, you can merge in the branch containing the separate code that you've been working on into the current stream of changes. So any questions or anything you want me to go back on, or anything you want me to clarify? I guess not. So we're gonna be going into the Git demo activity right now. And what we'll be doing in this demo activity is setting up Git on our remote machines. So at Cal Poly, each of us has access to several remote machines, and those are titled Unix 1 through Unix 6. And if you make change to one, if you make changes on one remote machine, then you'll be able to see your changes on another. And it's pretty nice. And many of your professors might require you to work on these machines for assignments, because they have like specific configurations that you'll need for submission of assignments and stuff. But I'm gonna be shoot. So to access the remote machines, you're gonna want to open up a terminal. So for Mac users, you'll want to search up terminal. For Windows users, you can open the PowerShell. And let's see. So if you have a terminal open, you'll want to enter the command SSH, and then the address of the remote machine you want to log into. Most often I find that sometimes one of these machines might not allow me to log in. And so then what I usually do is like try to log into another. So I'm gonna log into Unix 3. Preferably you don't want to log into Unix 1 because everyone in Cal Poly might be using that machine, because that's usually the most favorite Unix machine. So I'm gonna log into Unix 3. And then if it's your first time logging into the Unix machines, you'll just type in yes. And then now it's going to prompt you for a password. This password is the password you use to log into Canvas, the Student Center and whatnot. So it's your Cal Poly password. Yeah, so I'm going to type in my password.
Nice password.
A nice password.
You might want to just make it simple.
Right.
Just like the text.
So I'm gonna give everyone 2 minutes to log into Unix machine. Someone had a question.
I just want to see and I just want to say it.
Okay.
Can you like make the text a little bit bigger? Just like,
On the PowerShell, or yeah.
you don't need like full screen. Just start using it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's up?
What's the difference between the 1 through 6?
There's not really a difference, but Cal Poly just has like a bunch of servers to allow to like balance the load. So like one server doesn't have all the users, so the experience is more smoother for like running your code and all that.
Yeah.
So that's why they have like 6.
You need to choose any of the 6.
Yeah, preferably not 1, because everyone likes 1 for some reason.
Okay.
So how's everyone looking for time? Do you guys need 2 minutes, or
Set.
you're set? Okay.
Some people just. Yeah, that's just.
What's up? Try another machine or try all. Did you type in your username? So what I type in is like my household username and then whatever is after. Do you type in SNH or?
Yeah.
Oh, you're on the iPad. No. Okay, are you on like PowerShell or
Yeah.
PowerShell? Okay. I'm not too sure.
Number 6 doesn't work for me. Is anyone else using 6?
What's up?
Is anyone else using 6? Because that's the only one that doesn't work for me so far.
Yeah, sometimes they don't work.
It's just down. Okay.
Just a top calling
That happens sometimes. That's cool. I logged into like 4 of them, so it's good.
Any questions or not?
I was just saying that. Yeah, because I was thinking
Oh yeah, also you need to be on the everyone network for this. So
well, they listening to us. Whenever I was. Yeah, it's not extra. Access to even
yeah, what's up?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if the majority of you have logged into the Unix server, I'm gonna go ahead and start setting up Git. If you have a Mac machine, maybe you could follow along in your terminal if you have.
Please keep talking to them. Sean is presenting.
Okay, so to verify that Git is installed on your system, so to verify if Git is installed on your system, we'll do git tac v, and it'll git tac version rather. And so when you enter this, it'll tell you what version of Git is installed on your system. So it's a pretty helpful thing to know. As for setting up Git, first we'll have to enter in our GitHub credentials. So to that, we'll do git config tac list, or rather, my bad, git config tac global user dot name, and then your Git username. So this is to register your GitHub username with Git. What's up?
Make it even larger.
Even more. More?
Like this.
Yeah.
What's this?
Okay, is that better? Arthur, do we need bigger?
I think bigger is. Okay.
Is that better? Can you guys see better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so for the first step that's important is to register our username with our GitHub username with Git. So my GitHub username is Shanmare. And yeah, and then now we want to register our email with Git. And this email is the email we used to create our GitHub account.
Oh. If we're not sure which email we used to create our GitHub account, can we find it like on our GitHub profile?
Yeah.
Somewhere?
Shoot.
Because yeah, I feel like it's changed over time. I don't know how to find it though. Looking for it.
They go into profile and then settings, and then
Profile settings, yes. Emails, I see them. Okay, yeah, so I have one that's primary, so I'll use that. Okay, thank you.
right, okay. And now that we've configured our credentials to allow GitHub to identify who we are, we'll want to set up SSH keys for Git and GitHub. SSH keys are for GitHub is sort of a new thing that's been required 2 years ago, because GitHub wants to authorize that we are who we say we are. So to generate an SSH key, we'll do SSH key gen tag T ED 25519 tag C, and then our email that we use to create a GitHub account. And all these commands are on the CSNI toolkit, which is on the Discord. So I'm just like following that. So
Okay.
if you could have that up, you could just like copy and paste what I'm entering. And so right here it's asking us to enter a file to save the key. We don't want to specify a file. We just want to specify the default file location.
Sure.
And for my case, I already generated an SSH key, so I want to override it, but most likely for your case, you won't have anything. And then it's asking you for a passphrase. So usually people don't want a passphrase. Yeah, it's surprising to not enter a passphrase. And so right here, we've generated an SSH key. So for the next step, we'll want to get access to our SSH key. And to do that, we'll do cat and the file of where our SSH key is located. So and so what the cat command does is display the content of a file. And so right here, we want to copy the whole, we want to copy the whole output of the cat of the file. And we want to copy and paste it for later. So I'm not stored in Notepad. And now we want to log into GitHub. Yeah, I'm gonna get my phone real quick because I have like two-factor authentication.
Okay, for those of you that want to follow along with kind of the command that Jonathan run, here is our toolkit. You can go to this URL and then open the GitHub section and go to step 4. That's where you start.
You say sales. Oh, okay. Okay, so now that we're in GitHub, we want to register our SSH keys with GitHub. So to do that, we'll click on our profile image, then go into settings. Now that we're in settings, we'll click on the SSH and GPG keys. Do you guys have any questions or? Okay.
New SSH key?
What's up?
Is it a new SSH key?
Yeah, new SSH key. And so title it something. And then we'll fetch. So if you copied and pasted your SSH key earlier, you can put that in this box. Then we'll add our SSH key. How's everyone?
Good.
Good. So, any questions or? Right. Yeah, okay. So empty passphrase, empty file, empty everything. Like you'd think that you'd want a passphrase, but usually it's suggested not to have one. Yeah. So how's everyone looking? Good. Okay. So now that we registered our SSH key that we created earlier with GitHub, it's a good idea to test that our SSH key has been actually registered with GitHub. And to do that, we'll do SSH tag t git at github.com. And now it'll say, hello, GitHub user, you're successfully authenticated, but GitHub does not provide shell access. And that message is what you should be expecting. So now we have set up Git with GitHub on our local, or rather our Cal Poly server, remote server.
Question. So I actually got the authenticity of host github.com can't be established. And yeah, I everything else was fine. I added the key to my.
So do you add the whole command?
The whole thing, yeah,
whole thing?
yeah. It's here.
Do git config here.
Git config.
Yeah. So type in this command.
Okay.
And that will show you your what like username and email you've entered.
It shows me my username and email, but the rest of it doesn't.
I guess that's intentional.
Might be okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh, are you sure you want to continue? Maybe it's good now. Hang on.
So yeah, you type in yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to say yes.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Now I've successfully authenticated. Thank you.
So how's everyone feeling? Do you want more time or any questions? Alrighty. Okay, so right now, for the next phase of the workshop, I was thinking we create a GitHub repo locally. So we're gonna want to create a directory And to create a directory in bash, we'll enter the makedir command, and we'll then enter a folder name. So I'm going to tell it CSAI workshop. And then to verify that we've actually created this directory where we want, we're going to do a list ls to list all the files and folders within our current directory level. And as you can see, CSAI workshop has been created. And to navigate inside or go inside the folder, we'll do cd, which is change directory, and then CSAI workshop. So a cool thing about bash is that once you start typing a folder or file, you can hit the tab command to autocomplete it. So once you hit tab, it allows you to autocomplete the file and folder name. Now, once you're in the folder, we're gonna want to create a Python file. So to create a file in bash, we'll enter the touch command, and the file name would be csci.py. How's everyone looking? Do you want extra time on me to go over something? All right, okay. And to verify that this file is created, we'll do ls to list all the files within the current level. And so now we'll want to access the so I have some like pre-written code of a Python file that we'll be using to demonstrate version control. So I'm gonna go find that. Oh, it's actually in the toolkit. So this file can also be found in the CSAI toolkit.
I thought no, I guess.
And so this is the code that we'll be using to demonstrate the purposes of version control. What this program does is it's a simulation, and it's called Game of Life. And the basic rules is that for any cell, if 3 nearby neighbor cells are alive, that is, yeah, if they're alive, then the cell will stay alive. But if any dead cell has 3 live neighbors, it'll also come alive. And then any other cells that are either dead or alive that don't follow this rule will become dead. And with this, with these 3 simple rules, you can create a bunch of nice patterns. And there was mention of like computers being used, like created using these rules. I don't know too much about it, but it's interesting to look up. All right, so back to the code. So to edit the text file on our terminal, we're going to open out Vim. And we're going for a ride. So to enter to edit text file Vim, you'll do Vim and the text file name. Now to edit a text, to start inserting text in Vim, you'll hit the I. You'll hit the I command, and that will allow you to enter insert mode, from which you're able to insert text in the code. Do you all have any questions or?
Well,
Yeah,
it's
so
not actually compiling on my I'm hooked up the same way. It's not compiling. I'm wondering if it's a Python version.
yeah, it's a Python 3.
Okay, so is it a Python version problem with the servers?
No, just like enter Python 3 and then the file name.
Enter Python 3 instead of just.
Yeah, everyone on the SH machines, we all have like the same like code versions and all that. So
So we need Python 3. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
so
Right.
Python 3.
Yeah, csci.py. And yeah,
Okay. It failed?
I think so. I need to make the terminal bigger or something.
Oh yeah.
It
Yeah.
looks a little funky.
Yeah, you have to like zoom out.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. That's a good idea. Yeah, that looks good. I see that a lot.
All right. Any questions? What's up?
How do we get the code?
Yeah, so the code is in is on that URL. So go to tiny URL CSEI toolkit, and that will allow you to access our CSEI toolkit. And under the toolkit, you'll want to go under the Git and the GitHub section. So hit open. And at the very end of the toolkit, the sample code will be linked. So that'll redirect you to a Google Drive file. Any other questions? Gotcha. Is your password correct? What? Oh. I think about this very once. That was because I did also not so SH. Yeah. Because I remember someone did like a lot of professors use this like code and see them set All right, so if there aren't any questions, we can, I was thinking we copy and paste this code into the editor. So to that, we'll do Okay. So now that we have copied the code into the text file, we can compile it. And so prior to compiling it, you'll want to exit edit mode. And to that, you'll enter escape. And then to exit Vim, you'll type in WQ, which means save and quit. And to compile our code, we'll want to do Python 3 cxbi.py. And what this ends up doing is printing out a pattern it's nice to look at. So let's say that we are done editing this code. Or rather to backtrack, we'll want to exit out of the code execution because the code is like running in an infinite loop. And to exit that, you do Control C or Command C. Command C for Mac users. And to commit our code, or rather send our code to GitHub, we'll do git add. We want to do git add and the file name. So the message that popped out was that this is not a repo, and so to make this a repo, we'll do git init. And so the command git init initializes a Git repository in this directory. And this what this does is that it creates a repository, and we can then add files to track the file. We can add files to be tracked in our repository. So do that, we'll do git add cxai.py. And then prior to sending the code over to GitHub, Git requires us to write a commit message that informs anyone else that's looking at our code about what change we have made. So I'm going to write a commit message. The syntax of that is git commit tag m. Now I'm going to write some commit message. And after committing all the files that have been added are now being tracked by version control. And now to send our files over, we're going to want to do a push. But before we do a git push, we'll need to create a new repository in GitHub. So to that, we'll create a new repository. And then for repository name, we'll type in a name of repository. How is everyone? Like, do you guys have any questions or? Right. And then we'll want to enter a repository name. So I'm going to title it Game of Life and give it a description. Then we'll create a repository. Now, after a repository is created, we want to add the remote of GitHub. So what the remote is an address, is the address of GitHub, which allows Git to identify where to send all our code. So I'm gonna copy and paste that. Okay. So now that we've copied and pasted the remote, we can then push our code. And now it'll display a message. And so we can just type in whatever it's asking. And what this does is push a code and set the remote and set the remote name as origin. And so now we've sent the code over to GitHub, and if you refresh the page of your repository, you'll see that the file has been added to GitHub. Any questions, or do you all need troubleshooting help?
The changes we have into
Well, if not that, so if you don't have any questions, I guess we can move on to branching. So to create, so you want to create a new branch, and what a branch is a separate like workflow that allows us to make changes that are separate from the main change or like the main code base. So we'll do git branch to create a branch and write a branch name. And then can name it code chain. And to move to a different branch, we'll do git checkout code chain. And to see, or rather confirm that we are on the code chain branch, we'll do git branch. And as you can see here, we are on the code chain branch. Now, let's say you want to make a code change. We can go back to the Vim and go to csai.py. So to move around in a Vim file, you use the arrow keys or J, K, L, and H, but I use the arrow keys because I'm more used to it. So for our code change, we're going to change the pattern that's been initialized at the start. So we're going to comment out this code and set the pattern to we're going to change this code and set the pattern to create wider pattern, and we'll set the grid and grid size parameters. And so to exit the insert mode, we'll use we'll type escape, and to exit out Vim, we'll type in :WQ to save input. And now, as you can see here, some changes have been made. And a different pattern has been created in the separate branch.
Oh my god.
So to exit the simulation, we can use Control C to terminate the process by Command C. And if you want to go back to the changes we made previously, we'll do git checkout main. And that will allow us to go to the main branch. And as you can see here, if we run our code, the other pattern will be created. That's different from the first pattern. And yeah, that concludes our Git and GitHub workshop. Thanks for coming. Hope you. We actually got some content.
Raise your mic. I just want to know in the class. All right, for the few of you that are left, please fill out our feedback form. I will also just send this out in the Discord because it looks like a lot of people ended up leaving, which is fine. But for you that have to stay, please do this. And then a reminder that we are still accepting applications for our media team and our project team, our project committee. So more information will be posted on our Discord, so stay tuned, but please do this. Thank you for coming.
All right, all my lovely Zoom people. I'm gonna end the recording now. Thank you guys for watching, I guess. And I'll see you next week.